Say what?
Greetings and salvations, I'm Munthoff Neverborn, the abyss that slumbers, and you are listening to Eldritch Rants, the show that dares to ask the question, what does it mean? The answer to this question and many more will be answered by our panel of experts, who for some reason disappeared for a second there. Okay, everybody's back now. Alrighty, we're going to start with Cabbage Patch Bastard, who is full on all the way. Drew, who identifies as a rainbow American. Gwendy Wook, who can prove that double rainbows are a double negative and thus a symbol of heterosexual supremacy movement. And the voice of one, who is a leprechaun who complains that double rainbows mean double the gold and warns of a coming apocalypse of the precious metal commodities market. And last but not least, he's got a black belt in bullshit. He's the Baron of Blather. The only difference between what he does and YouTube videos is all in the swagger. It's Farty Von Bumstink. How's it going, everybody?
He got in trouble from work this week, the Eldritch God. Man tells his boss he can't come to work because he's too busy being a reincarnated god. You know the rules. You're only allowed to be a god in one reality only.
But that was actually on the list of topics this week. But yes, yes, as a deity rights activist here, we're omniscient, we're omnipresent, get over it. I totally advocate for this man's rights to be a reincarnated Vishnu. Or Vishnu, I don't know. Those Hindu gods, all their arms, it gets pretty wacky. Although I'm totally down with Ganesh, stomper of roadblocks, Ganesh, destroyer of firewalls, Ganesh, god of the internet. Yes, the god of the internet has an elephant god.
Come on, they got some sexy elephants though.
Oh yeah, that elephant's got it going on, man. That trunk and everything.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Yeah, I like a good trunking.
Oh my god.
Donald Trunk?
You're hurting me. You need to stop.
Anything anybody want to jump in on and rant about before we jump into the various topics at hand?
No.
Okay, this one stood out here. A new product, BloxVox, a Bane-like mask that muffles speech for private phone calls.
We've already got that. It's called your hand.
Yeah, it's so weird looking. He's got this weird thing over. At first, I thought this was a bondage picture, but he's got the BloxVox on, so you can talk on his cell phone and hear private messages. And I don't know if it was a bit bigger. It looked like a feed bag for a horse. But is this the future where we're all walking around with our own little universes where you can't even overhear other people's phone calls?
I don't want to hear other people's phone calls. It's awkward.
This has to be a Japanese kind of thing because they're all uppity about speaking on phones in public places. Like you'll actually be shushed by a cranky Jap, and that's probably about the only place you'll find a cranky Jap fella in the world is on a train. You know, going through Tokyo or something like that. You answer your phone, oh, big fucking no-no. Everyone look down on you.
I hear that they're all just horny old bastards.
Personally, I think it looks like the snout of
Japanese
a bull.
are just old people.
Oh, yes.
Oh, well, just thought we'd start off with something a little bit silly before we got into something a little not silly. Sigh. Boy Scouts make another change. Condoms will be at all Scout jamborees.
Now, this shit's starting to get a bit fucking suspect.
Now, I know how they recently changed the Boy Scouts to Scouts, so boys and girls can be in the same troop from now on. And I believe we announced last week that 1/3 of them were leaving thanks to the Mormon Church pulling out of the Boy Scouts. No pun intended. But they have new guidelines.
Well, it could be worse. It could be the Catholic Church pulling out.
All Scout leaders are required to bring condoms to the jamborees just in case.
Shouldn't it be government issued? I thought they'd be government issued.
Oh, that's what we need. We need GI condoms. We can get it with our blocks of free cheese.
Do we not have that?
Oh, no. I can just see it now. They could even market this to kids. GI condom. And he's offside at Captain Dick. Yeah, you know what Captain Dick says to to GI condom? Cover me, I'm going in.
Oh God, that
That was
was
bad. That was bad.
yeah. Seal that up,
That
bury it.
dad jokes are awful.
You know,
That's the cake.
I like to wander about YouTube and catch all the really weird people out there, but when I read about this one and saw some of the response videos, I was sitting there going, you know, with the people complaining this is some sort of weird pedophile conspiracy, I'm having a really hard time disputing them, because this just does not sit well with me. Like,
well, see, well, okay. Logic, on the logical side of things, you're getting young, like the scouts gathering, there'd be the older lots would be getting around the 16-year-old mark and that kind of stuff, and kids start fucking around that age.
Mate, if there's grass on the pitch, you can play.
Yeah, if you're doing it for those reasons, like you know that they're going to do it, stop them from doing it, so at least, you know, have frangers ready so you don't get underage pregnancies. Okay, yeah, but you know, when we're talking about the Lindsay Amer type, no, we need to start teaching kids about condoms. Why? Because why the hell not? That means you've got to teach them everything else as well, you know, because they're not just going to, what's this for? Oh, well, don't worry about what it's for. We'll teach you about it. And we've got to teach all these kids about everything else if we're teaching them about one thing. And the Lindsay Amer aspect of it, I don't fucking like it. I don't like where it's going. But yeah, there is a logical explanation for it.
I understand that, but when I was forced to be a Boy Scout, when I was in the Boy Scouts, you know what we did? We went around, we started fires, we took macaroni and glued them in the plates, and then we dared each other to go over to the electric fence and pee on it. Okay, that's what we did at Jamboree. Although when I love this one line, which is what, I don't know, it just stands out to me. Girls are our country's great untapped resource. Yeah, so we got to tap those girls. Got to tap them 2, maybe 3 times. That's a wrong sentence to use in the same article about condoms at Jamboree, okay? Yeah. Any thoughts from the panel of experts?
I'm uncomfortable about the talking of tapping women and girls.
Oh, they need a good tapping.
I feel I have been triggered.
Yeah, like I said, you know, like it's kind of like the context of it. Yeah. So they were all right up until they said tapping that resource. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, can you get tags or something like that? Like you have to buy the license to, you know, get so many tags.
Of course, the
wristbands that people have.
The Girl Scouts of America are
how many
unhappy.
times you've been tapped?
Although their leader is Sylvia, and I swear it looks like avocado. Sylvia Avocado. I know it's not pronounced that way, but that's what it looks like her name is. That's the competition with the Scouts now. Sylvia Avocado, CEO of Girl Scouts of America. This is going to end in tears and pain.
So when the fringers get used, do the girls get a patch with a blooming rosebud or something like that on it, saying that their resource has been tapped?
They get a free buggy for the child.
Anyway, anything else before moving on? Next topic.
That's an interesting new way of calling a vagina. I'm going to tap that resource.
Oh, jeez.
Hashtag pound me too. Hashtag pound me too. Sorry.
God.
Pound that
I mean, but why not? I mean, if you're going to be tapping it, right, and it's a resource, then you should be able to tag it like alligators. You know,
you need to put a ring on it with a piercing machine.
No. The ring is a bit further. No. The ring is a bit further back.
You ever ring it?
Oh my God.
You got the resource at the front. The ring's in the back.
Anyway, we got more news from Florida. Let's move on. City looks for answers after zombie alert sent to residents. Only in Florida. Florida man was at work and sent a zombie alert to everybody in Lake Worth, Florida, right after a power outage.
Oh, jeez.
So 7,880 customers during a 27-minute power outage were alerted that zombies were on the way.
Can do that.
That's great.
I don't believe that they've actually got a preset for that.
7,000 people on a group chat or something.
No, it's like one of those automatic alerts that are sent out, like when there's bad weather or something like that.
Yeah,
no, but they're not saying government did it. They're saying that a guy did it.
This is what happened.
They believe it happened. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Somebody hacked into the system, right? Because they're one of the random few people that still had power. And they were messing around with it, sending out a bunch of fake alerts, and the power happened to come back on at the time they sent out a fake zombie alert.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We had that here in Syracuse once. Somebody, do you know those road signs that they tell you construction up ahead, that sort of thing? They apparently left it unlocked.
Those are actually relatively easy to hack, though.
Yeah, and somebody just walked up and put in warning zombies ahead.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's a popular one.
People have done all kinds of funky shit with those. I mean, all you need is just a Wi-Fi connection or a Bluetooth, and you can fuck with those things to your heart's content.
Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on to something that, cockroach milk could one day become the ultimate superfood. What? Who thinks this up? What scientist said, we haven't done? We haven't milked cockroaches.
But cockroaches aren't mammals. They don't produce milk. They don't have mammary glands.
Well,
how the fuck do you milk a cockroach?
Because apparently the Pacific beetle cockroach can. I don't understand it, but they have milk in quotes. But apparently it's 3 times the energy content of buffalo milk.
This sounds to me like they're masturbating a cockroach. They're just choosing
This is cockroach porn, man.
Masturbation.
That'd have to be one hell of an uncomfortable stool.
It's got to be tiny. I mean, how small are tweezers? I mean, you're going to have to tweezer that.
I know a bunch of wankers that can use their tweezers.
Wait,
if you want to get production up, definitely a Chinese production line or North Korean.
Oh Lord!
My question is at this. And by the way, it seems like it does come from, I believe, Australia. The cockroach in question with all the nutritious milk. But my question is are we running out of science? Are we running out of things to science?
We must be.
Because we're down to milking cockroaches. Like, have we solved
this
everything?
This is the idiocracy argument that we're fucking that I keep perpetuating, right? Because everyone's saying, we should be getting smarter and all this. Yes, we should be getting smarter. Have we run out of sciencey things? No, we haven't cured cancer, the common cold, or fucking AIDS yet. But let's not look into that. Let's start fucking.
I mean, there is a cure for cancer. It's in Canada.
Crushing bugs, and let's see if they taste yummy. Duh. That's where we're going to.
Well, you've had. Do you remember this?
There is a cure for cancer and a cure for AIDS. It's called suicide.
That's not a cure.
Well, you're not dying of cancer or AIDS.
No. It kills the disease. It doesn't cure the disease. There's a difference there. Killing the disease isn't quite a cure in this case, but.
Well, you're not dying of it anymore. Well, no, because now you're dead. You've reached the ultimate goal of the disease.
This whole milking cockroaches thing, it just sits there and I'm just sitting there and I'm reading this and there's a part of me going, this had to come out of California. I mean, I can't pin it down, but this seems exactly like the sort of line of reasoning that comes out of California lately. I don't know.
Some fucking stone cunt sitting around having a really bad trip or something like that and it's like, dude, I milked a cockroach and it was like super food, man.
It is. It's like that. How did they ever get people to eat kelp or whatever it is? That fucking hideous shit.
I want some butter kelp. I need some butter kelp.
I want to know who the fucking weird cunt was who thought foie gras was an idea right from the word go.
We're humans.
Is it like to abuse geek.
Do we just eat everything?
I I mean, I like food.
He was deep throating a goose one day, and his wife comes in and went, "Fucking, what the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "Oh no, this is how we make the foie gras." Seriously,
that's how we do it. Yeah. You see, that would make sense.
No. Go when you
stick out with a corn attached to it.
Yeah, when you see how they make foie gras, you not only want to punch the cunt who makes it, but you want to beat the ever-loving shit out of cunts who like it.
Wait, no.
I don't know if you want to Google
pate.
that.
It's very, very expensive pate, basically.
I'm just waiting for cockroach porn to come out. That's all I'm waiting for.
The liver basically gets close to exploding when they
force
the corn.
Yeah, they force feed it something, and they basically make it spew up its own guts.
Okay, well, it must give it a certain zing.
Yeah, like I said, you want to punch the cunt who's doing it. You want to, like any cunt who likes it, you want to fucking beat the shit out of them even more.
The fact is, weirdly enough, it does taste nice, but I wouldn't order it on a menu. But it does actually taste nice. I've had it before.
Ah, well. Anything else on cockroaches? Let's move on to something a bit more serious.
Masturbating cockroaches.
Yeah, let us. I think we can staunchly stand behind no masturbating the cockroaches. At any rate, leaders of two Korea hold surprise meeting as Trump revives hopes of summits with the North. Now, we didn't talk about this much about last week because this developed very quickly, but I'll sum it up for everybody. Who's that guy? Bolin? Bolin basically told North Korea, yeah, we're going to do the Libya model on you. And I believe the Libya model ended in Muammar Gaddafi getting shot and killed in a sewer. And so,
Bolton.
Bolton, that was the guy. So Kim Jong-un basically insulted the vice president. And then Donald Trump said, you know what, maybe we don't need the summit. By the way, maybe my hand that writes the check that sends the food to you, that's not going to work either. By the way, we have this tremendous nuclear stockpile. It'd be a real shame if we were forced to use it, because that's a nice country you got there. A really nice country. Be a shame if something happened. I mean, he turned all gangster. He really turned all gangster. Basically going, be a shame if anything turned your entire country into a sea of molten magma. But then, suddenly, Kim Jong-un and President Moon get together on the border to start talking. And a lot of people are going, oh my God, America's being kept out of the discussion. Who cares? Who cares? We could be the bad guys. If those two get together and they make nice mice and there's no nuclear war, who cares? But that's where we're at. Thoughts?
Playing a blinder. It's sort of like, they played the hard man. They made, and like you said, now it's a negotiation between North and South. America can step back and let them do it themselves, which is great. Perfect, right? Because then you don't have to.
Right. Like, what's wrong with us not being in the middle of everything? Like, is that such a bad thing?
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's what the rest of the world have been saying to America for years, and it's what Trump was trying to do just before he went and bombed bloody Syria. But this also does run under a lot of what the North has got a lot to do with this, because remember, I keep telling everyone that
they're fucked. They're just fucked.
Whatever happens outside of North Korea is at the whim of bloody fearless leader. Fucking, it's not Trump giving, or it's not the Yanks giving foreign aid because they feel sorry. It's the tactical fucking sidesteps and shit from our industrialist leader has made them give us stuff because he's such a great fucking leader and shit. So this whole it's never going to be America's fucking brought these two back. It's always going to be Kim and everybody else. Kim's doing this, and they're blah 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 blah. So.
But and look at that Nobel Prize thing that is being touted around. It'd be fantastic if he was offered it and just said no.
Oh, I'd love that from Trump. Yeah, he said, a lot of people, everybody deserves a Nobel Prize. I love that. I love that. I loved how he dissed them. Oh, that was awesome. Because the Nobel Prize is
meaningless. We don't need your Swedishness.
Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, thanks for people talking about it, but everybody deserves a Nobel Prize. I didn't.
What he was basically saying there is everybody gets one. I mean, look what the fuck did Obama do to get his? You know what I mean? It's almost like a participation certificate now, isn't it?
Encouragement award.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you know, I actually kind of feel sad for Obama. I really do. Because there's a part of me that wonders on some level if he just was too naive and just listened to the wrong people. Because what's his legacy now?
No,
You're the first black president. Like, it's the first 2 years, it looked like he was somewhat independent. And then after 2010, it looked like he just kind of was there, you know?
Well, he is doing a round of what them bloody what do they call it? Talk on stage.
TV show coming up on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part that makes me think your life is pathetic. You went from being the president of the United States to Netflix. Seriously. Have some dignity.
A TV show.
that talk thing that he's doing, that tour where he's talking, it's called Still Relevant.
Yeah, I'm still relevant.
Funny, right? That you take a president and you turn him into a talk show host, while a talk show host ends up as president. I mean, they think there's a degree. Well, not a talk show, but you know, a TV
reality TV show, which admittedly I would say was in the top 5. Donald Trump, for all of his weirdness, he's pretty damn good at whatever he decides to do. It's eerie.
No, this would be fucking hilarious, right? They do a reality show on the Obamas, and then they call it America's First Family. Not so much the actual show, but you know, like with say, oh fucking what's his name?
You turn it into the Cosbys, and then he'll end up in
sort of kind of like. Yeah,
it's like the Cosbys.
Like, yes, 30 years from now, we'll be watching court cases of shit that, like, you know, can't see it and pinch on the ass or something like that.
Oh God! Actually, I can see the social justice warriors making the First Family starring Obama. I can see this.
It couldn't be the Cosby Show, but you could make it different strokes.
Oh yeah. Oh my God!
Oh, who was the little?
Oh God! Oh,
who was the midget?
Oh,
who was the midget from that?
Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman. Yeah.
Gary Coleman.
He died from? He died from several episodes of different strokes.
Oh my God!
Oh. At any rate, shall we move on?
And there was no sequel.
Shall we move on to the headline story?
Yeah.
Man tells bosses he can't come to work because he's too busy being a reincarnated god. After served official notice asking why he'd only been present at work 16 times in the past 8 months, an engineer from the Indian state of Gujarat replied that he had been the 10th incarnation of the Hindu god Vishnu and had been too busy with divine work to focus on his job.
He should have just said he'd been eating food from the fucking Ganges again and he's got the squids.
Now, see, here's the thing. It's called schizophrenia, and if he takes enough lithium and other antipsychotics, he'll probably be fine. I don't know why somebody having, you know, delusions of grandeur actually managed to get in the news like this. But apparently, I'm looking at this picture and I'm counting like 9 different microphones from different news agencies shoved in his face to talk to.
And yet Tommy Robinson can't even be reported about.
Yeah, we can't even talk about Tommy Robinson. They're deleting his. Yeah, we'll get to that. But for just so people know, there was a bunch of news articles about him that came out in the UK, and then they all vanished. Like,
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, Tommy Robinson.
Well, of course, you see, that's why, because they put a D notice on it.
Tommy Robinson is this. I don't know what he is exactly. Is he alt-right? Is he a radical? Or is he just some concerned guy who lived in the same town as where a bunch of girls got raped and he decided, hey, I'm going to make this my life's mission? I don't know. Okay. But
he's a bit of all of them.
Yeah, he's really just a normal guy, really, who's just kind of awkward, in my opinion. And he's got some okay ideas, and he's good at echoing what other people say, and he's not bad to look at. So, You know, not like my face. There's a reason why I never show my face. It's not because I'm worried about being doxxed. But that being said,
your face is not that ugly.
Anyway, moving on here.
I've seen your
you definitely
face.
have a face for radio.
That's the acne that kills me. But anyway, moving on here. I mean, but the thing is he's really, really passionate about all these rape gangs that were grooming girls in the UK. And so he got public information that told him where one of the trials was going to be, and he drove out there and he stood in front of there and live Facebooked it. And then an hour later, the police showed up and said, the judge said you're in violation of court by revealing the location of the meeting that you got off the internet. And he's disappeared, He has been disappeared. And after an hour in trial, he's going to get 13 months in jail.
Hang on. When did we stop talking about your Indian dude?
Oh, well.
We got distracted by the dude.
No, the Indian dude's kind of boring, really. I mean, he's just thinks he's a god. That's it.
Like, I didn't hear anybody disprove he was a god.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. I mean, and as a deity rights activist, I'm all for the rights of deities everywhere who are oppressed. So, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt personally. You know, I mean, let's let him smite a couple of people and then we'll see how it works out, because the smiting is really what sets people apart.
You can't be a god without a good smiting.
Yeah. I got a t-shirt that says it's ass smiting time.
Wow.
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. God, but what you wear to your gay nightclubs is up to you.
I got
Yeah, is it a tight t-shirt or is it baggy?
Actually, I think I got it from a bargain bin at Salvation Army. It was actually the theme of a beer commercial for a while there, in case anybody didn't know that.
I think you just pulled it off Hobo.
I rarely beat hobos to death and take their clothes. Thank you very much.
Okay, at least their shoes.
But at any rate, since we actually were talking about it, let's bring up Tommy Robinson. Yeah, this guy got arrested for breaching the peace outside of court during the grooming trials. And to be honest, from everything from the report, apparently he was just sitting there and saying, yep, this is where it's at. We're waiting to hear some info.
Well, actually, there's been an update that he's out of prison.
Oh, he's already been released. I was expecting him to die there. I honestly was. I was expecting him to keep him there for a year.
There was a demonstration within, I mean, you've got to remember, right, that this demonstration that happened today, yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I only heard about that 5 minutes ago. Like, they did a really good job of making that demonstration disappear.
And that's part of the problem, this denotice thing. But that's the point, you know, the people actually went down and just said, fuck this. The government's starting to realize that they are really biting off more than they can chew with this one. Which is good, you know, put them in checks. It was a slap on the nose to the government in a way.
Well, I mean, the UK is what? Finding people for making Nazi dogs and banning reporters from their country because they might cause riots or something, but seriously, what the hell's going on over there? Like,
I have no idea.
What are these people thinking? Because every time you do this, you make your enemy more powerful. The worst thing that could have happened is Tommy Robinson could have been killed in jail. Like, then he's a freaking martyr, and then he's immortal. You can't argue with a dead guy. Like,
well, the thing of it is like people like me. People like me were right years ago when, you know, we were talking about shit like this before. But no, we've gone and let these people that we were talking about in, and now they've got a stranglehold on what's going on. And it's the people who used to be around are saying, hang on a minute, no, I wanted the old Australia, not this new one. Now people are sort of, oh, shit, hang on. Fuck, he was right. Oh, shit, maybe he wasn't being racist after all.
Oh, yeah, the progressivism is being recalled.
But it's now too late because you've already let in the undesirables and the people that wanted to change your culture to what their culture was, the one that they were trying to escape, remember? They're already there. And now you can't say shit because you might upset them. Just remember, they didn't give two shits about your fucking feelings when they went and upset you first.
In my opinion, by the way, just officially, I actually, and I've seen it, I believe that race does not apply much if you get somebody young enough. Like, you can take somebody from India and put them in Ireland and they're Irish. I've seen it. The problem is that, like,
Eldritch,
this is about, yeah, well, just in case it comes up. This isn't about race. This is about culture. I believe in cultural, some cultures are better than others. They are. Some cultures are better than others. I believe in cultural supremacy. But anybody could be an American. You just got to come over and be one.
As someone from Ireland, I think I have an...
Shoot.
No, I said I think I should have an opinion, not that I have one.
Oh, okay. No. Cabbage, you were going to say something?
I'm going to say it's not about anything to do with, race. This is purely about ideology. It's an ideological issue. That's the reason that it's a problem.
This is a cultural Cold War. This is, in America, it's basically a cultural civil war that's just cold. Nobody's being killed in the streets, but it's going on. This is I mean, look at California. They basically walled themselves up. It's crazy when you look at the laws they're passing.
Yes, but again, what is that? It's ideological. It's the social justice lunatics, right? It's ideological warfare. That's the, the neo-Marxist, lunatics who are, running rampant.
The crazy
same thing is like in Britain with the Muslims. I mean, they say it's Muslims, but it's not. It's Islam that's the issue, right? Because there are actually Muslim Catholics and there are Muslim, Christians, whatever you want to call them.
I'm sorry. Hang on. No, hang on.
No. You mean Middle Eastern, not Muslim.
No. Well, okay. Well, yeah, but I mean, they classify themselves as from that region, so it's sort of like it becomes synonymous.
Right, hang on. Yeah,
they blur the line.
Islam is the ideology. Islam is the ideology where the problem lies.
Yeah, you got Muslims in Southeast Asia too, man.
It's Islam that's the ideology that's the problem. Yeah. Islam is where the problem lies.
Muslims are those who believe in the Islam teachings.
Yeah.
Now,
not all of them.
No. Well, I mean, anybody who's secular, like the secular Muslims, those guys are fine. Like, because they go, yeah, we believe in Allah, but we don't believe in it literally. We understand there's some leeway here.
It's the Islamic teachings, because fundamentally it says you must kill the infidel. I mean, that's the underlying.
Have you looked at a Bible?
Yes, I've looked at the Bible, but I mean, but it depends whether you're looking at Old Testament or New Testament. Yeah. You're looking at New Testament, it doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
about
the problem is that when you read the Muslim Bible, in the Christian Bible,
I stare at them every day.
Just to clarify, in the Christian Bible, Old Testament is real wrath of God, murder everybody, collect the foreskins, sort of thing.
That's Jewish, you see. Yeah. Them's the Jews.
But when you get to the New Testament, it's a kinder, gentler God. In Muslim faith, it's kind of the other way around. The later teachings are the ones that they go by, and the later teachings are much more violent than the early ones. So unfortunately, it's kind of backwards.
It's not a very large population that actually follow like those kind of teachings. It's not a large group of people that do.
Are you talking about in America or the 100 million living in the various countries?
No. You got to remember.
You got that vocal minority going on where you think that they're the majority and they're not. They're just loud.
European.
Being stupid.
If you're of white European stock, you are 9% of the population of the planet. We are a minority, by the way.
Well,
Going on about minorities. People should actually get it in context because we are the ones who are having our our culture and our identity attacked.
In the UK, yes. Theirs. In the UK, yes. In America, we kind of were designed around being attacked. That was kind of our MO. We've been repeatedly invaded. But that said,
if you want to go,
what do you mean you've been invaded?
Well, the Irish, the Germans, the Polacks, we came in like gangbusters. The Polacks, we came into New York State like gangbusters.
They failed. No, we've had the French, we've had the fucking Romans. Don't tell us about being invaded. We've been invaded by. That's the reason that we want to leave fucking Europe alone.
No. I'm saying that you guys resisted it. We kind of embraced it here. In America, we kind of embraced the whole being invaded thing. You guys, you're like, no, we're British. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with your culture wanting to be your culture. I mean, I believe that everybody's culture should be protected, because if you blend it too much, what do you got? I do believe in multiculturalism. The problem is you need multiple cultures. If you blend them all together, you've only got one culture.
But then you get what we've got down in Melbourne at the moment, is where we've got people from the Sudan, Chad, and various different parts of other funny parts of Africa, who are literally perpetuating their fucking bullshit they've been brought up from childhood with in the streets of Melbourne. And we're not allowed to even say anything about it. And then I say sucked into the fucking idiots in Melbourne, because fucking they're the faggot fuck multiculturalists that wanted all of this shit. They're the idiots who thought, yeah, we can bring a whole bunch of cunts in from a war zone who've never had any form of social fucking upbringing at all. And yeah, we'll just ditch them in the middle of friggin' suburban Melbourne. They'll fit in, not a problem. Yeah, no, don't go stick them out the back of fucking buggery somewhere in ones and twos, so they can learn this fucking joint and then fucking be brought into the city. No. Let's just drop them in a big group. They'll be fine. Not a problem.
That's the thing that people have spoken about with regards to the Australian immigration policy, because it was done on credit. It was done, do we need you? Are you useful? It wasn't, like this quota bullshit that gets imposed upon you, like we have with the European Union and things like that. So you actually had a choice of who you bring in. Should be, right? I mean, it's not. But that's why this is why multiculturalism worked originally in Britain, because people who were brought over, they were here to actually do a job, right? That they actually had something to do. They didn't end up sitting on the fucking dole, just sucking off the system. Okay, they came for a job.
Yeah, but then the Labor Party gets in, and then they fucking change it to, we'll take boat people, fucking people smugglers. It's naughty to people smuggle, but we'll take anyone that you've got. Fucking, that's what the Labor rights do.
Any rate,
liberal government now. So.
Yeah, it's the fucking purple people.
Well, any rate, anybody else want to make any comments on this? We're kind of going long on the topic. Drew, anybody else want to talk about anything?
It's an important topic. It's important.
Oh, it's an important topic, yeah, but I want to get to some of the other topics that are kind of related to all of this.
We can always come back to this.
All right. Well, I'm going to bring up some of the whole, what I think is probably the crux of the matter in California, at least, since it's kind of a microcosm of things. Tiny California cottage on market for just under $1 million. That's right. This house of bare under 600 square feet is running for $1 million because it's within 5 blocks of the ocean. This is the problem with California. You have this really rich bunch of people, and then you have a whole bunch of normal people who can't live in the rich people's universe, because to live within 5 blocks of them costs you $1 million for 600 square feet for a ramshackle house from the 1940s. Okay.
Yeah, I'll see your ramshackle house from the 1940s, and I'll raise you a public house, a public toilet in a park from the 1930s, and that went about 15 years ago for about $1 million.
Where was this?
Now, I will raise you that, because I bet you it was a greater floor space. There was a janitor's closet that was converted in London West 1, and that sold for £1 million.
This is the problem.
I can actually even top that. The shell of a terrace house, no floors, no ceiling, no nothing, just the 4 walls, right? It's been gutted by fire, but they can't demolish it any further because it's heritage listed. You can't rebuild in it either. You can't knock it down. You can't rebuild it. You can't fucking build in the inside of it. It's literally just $1 million shell.
Well, I think that the recurring problem here is that this is
but how
treating
big's
this.
that? I'm talking about a janitor's closet.
Oh yeah, well, when I used to have to go to here work uphill both ways, and then when I got to school, they would beat us to death and bury us alive, and then we'd have to eat a lump of poison, and our teacher would dance about on our graves. Huzzah!
We eat gravel.
We ate gravel, and we were thankful. We were thankful. Sorry, digress. But at any rate.
You almost challenged your inner Cartman there for a second there.
The problem is that it creates this dichotomy of these people who really have to be insanely rich, and then they group up and they have no contact with the rest of the world, none whatsoever. And why isn't there a massive flight out of California? Oh wait, there is. Everybody who's normal is leaving the place.
Yeah, where they're going? Austin. Yeah, look what they did to Austin.
Yeah, that's not so good either. But
they fucked up Texas. It's cancer. All that's happening is that the cancer is spreading because these lunatics take their crazy ideas with them.
Well, okay, just to give you an idea of, I'm not sure of the exchange rate at the moment, but it's like one of ours is like $1.10 or 20 of yours at the moment in America. But the average house price in Australia is topping the $1 million mark. And my grandmother's house went for 1.6 million, which would be up around it went for 2.1 million, which would probably be around the 3 and a bit million American, or 2.5, something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an average house.
My house, $100,000,
less than the American
and I
dollar.
thought I was getting raked over the coals.
Remember when houses in Sydney were about $100,000, and where $100,000 was a lot of money.
Wow.
Yeah, but what's your minimum wage out there?
Depends on what you're doing. See, as a truck driver, I could get about $1,300
No,
a week.
what's the minimum wage? Like, what is your minimum wage, your federal minimum wage, whatever you call it?
Okay, well, that's not a standard question because we've got minimum wages for every different thing, and it's not a standard.
So you don't have
guys don't have like a flat.
Depends on what your job
here
is.
we do. Like the absolute minimum is like what, 9 something right now federally?
Yeah, it's about 9.
Well, there's a minimum wage for driving trucks. That's a minimum wage that a company's allowed to start paying you from. There's a minimum wage for a cunt at Macca's that flips hamburgers, but that avenue. He's not getting my minimum wage. Let's put it that way.
That'd be a lot saner than what we're doing here in New York. We're going to be giving everybody a flat $15 an hour here, and I can tell you right now, it's going to destroy my job. Because at the job that I work at, where I literally wipe people's asses, $15 an hour is actually going to give me a raise. Why would anybody work wiping ass when you can work at McDonald's flipping burgers for the same amount of money? And there's no chance of you going to jail if the person whose ass you're wiping accuses you of something.
Because you're not going to get paid $15 an hour. You're going to get paid more than that if you're already making over minimum wage, because there's this thing called the cost of living adjustment.
No.
Yes.
No.
That's gonna.
Because then they won't have workers. They're not that.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
you got to understand that there's a government subsidy for my industry. But the minute you pay 1 nickel over minimum wage, you lose the subsidy. And I assure you, these non-for-profits can't
So you're getting paid minimum wage right now?
Yeah. I work 2 jobs.
Are you shitting me?
I work 2 jobs.
Dude, no. Okay, hold on.
This is the job where I sleep.
PCA doing minimum wage.
I work at a job where I get paid minimum wage sleeping. And then I work at another job for the state where I get paid about 20. That job I'm not worried about because that's the state
minimum
job.
wage sleeping?
Yeah, I get paid to sleep. Well,
what is that?
I do the overnight. Once we're wrapped up here and everything's done, if all the clients are safe, I can sleep for a couple hours if I need to.
You are essentially a PCA, though, correct?
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm personal care, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something that's probably going to blow your mind right now with that whole concept. In Minnesota, you get $17 an hour. That's the minimum.
Wow, that's pretty good. I've been, by the way, if you could get good health care, I'd probably move, but I can't beat what I'm getting. And trust me, with the
minimum wage is a joke. all minimum wage does is push up inflation.
Yeah,
the prices are always going
not
to
necessarily. Like back home, I
does.
mean, our economy is doing great. We were in a surplus and all that
yeah,
good
but
shit.
in New York, it's not.
We weren't having any issues.
In New York,
It's
New
always
York, New York is fucked because of New York City. That's not even a question.
that's the problem. New York is fucked because of New York City. If we could divorce ourselves from New York City, it'd be okay.
When you have minimum wage, the one thing that it will always do is that if there's more money in people's pockets, then the prices will go up. It doesn't matter where you are. That's just a natural reaction to the free market. People have more money, we can charge more for our services. That's what happens. So inflation is a natural higher minimum wage. Wages should not be set by anyone apart from the person negotiating it when they take on, you used to negotiate.
I'd be interested in seeing what would actually happen for a year or two if there was no minimum wage, just to see what would happen. But to be honest,
it happened an awful long time, and we've had extremely productive, I mean, the minimum wage has been one of the things which has totally distorted the economy. It's been one of the most things in terms of trying to, because you see, the thing is, and the one problem that you have when you institute a minimum wage or you institute anything like that, then it means that you are going to have, like, you get the inflation or whatever. That means that anyone who's on Social Security or anything else, you have to increase their money in order to compensate for the inflation. So you end up with a higher deficit. It's just a natural progression. There's no way you can deviate from that reality, right? Because those people on...
that is a natural consequence.
To live. Yeah, and so it's a knock-on effect. So the cause and effect is that you actually just increase your national deficit.
So how do you explain the fact that inflation will continue whether or not minimum wage increases?
Saying that you've got those $1 trillion in debt that that are constantly clocking up on the side of that building in America.
That's a whole other thing.
Well, no, see, that's part of the problem too.
Well, yeah, but it's contributing to it.
Another thing you'll do as well is it will increase the amount of people who will be unemployed, because there's a lot of jobs out there that aren't paying $15 an hour, and if you're made to pay people $15 an hour, then people will go.
Well, I mean, to answer her question though, there's multiple factors that affect inflation. In effect, the national debt is really just printing money. When you look at it, the bonds we make is just another form of money where we bribe people an interest rate to, not spend it. Minimum wage affects it, but there's a bunch of other factors. So it's not just one thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you increase the cost of, if you increase the amount of money in an environment, prices go up accordingly. Therefore, you have to.
I would beg to differ. That only really works when you're printing money. If you're continuing to print money, the value of that money goes down. Therefore, the price of that thing goes up.
If you making a minimum wage basically supercharges an economy. It makes the money change hands faster. Your money's what is it? I forget what it is. It's not inertia. What do you call it when something's got? I forget what the term is. But
fluid.
Oh, you mean volatility? No, you want volatility.
Oh, volatility, yeah, right. But the more your money changes hands, every time your money changes hands, everything gets slightly more expensive. The faster it goes, the faster inflation goes. Now, there's other factors that affect it. The supply and demand of other products. You can actually get deflation and inflation at the same time. But that's called stagflation.
Inflation, right? Yeah. But, so I mean, these, and then you end up with things like shrinkonomics, where like the products are the same price, but they keep on
minimum
shrinking.
Wage isn't. And actually, I like what Farty said about there having a minimum wage per industry. I think that would be a much more sensible idea than what we're doing. But that all said, I think 15 is too much. Like maybe, okay, we'll up the minimum wage $1 or $2. I think the economy could take that. Jumping it up $15 an hour over 5 years, holy crap, this is going to hurt like hell. At any rate, we've kind of gotten off topic.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, the government should have no involvement in deciding wages. It really shouldn't. The wages should be the result of the marketplace.
We had a lot of small businesses that couldn't really afford to have more than one employee to begin with. Having a wage that would pay several dollars more than what their normal standard would be now will basically make that person unemployable. And then, if you've got a welfare system, that'll just put more strain on the welfare system almost straight away with all these people losing their and shit. And
that was my point, because
Yeah.
you just end up with a higher welfare bill.
Well, now we're just going around in circles
Higher
here.
welfare bill.
Anybody else want to talk about the topic of minimum wage before we move on?
Living wage, the other one. Now there's another fucking disaster waiting to happen.
At any rate, I want to move on to NAACP leader who claimed racial profiling, but his claim was challenged after they released the body cam footage from the police officer.
Yes. Oh, how many times has this happened, though?
I mean, he deleted the original tweet, but I saw it, and he was like claiming that, oh my God, he came after me just because I was black, and all these things that he said, and the officer was accusing me of having drugs in my car, and then they released the body cam, and none of that was said. Yeah, the whole exchange was pretty mild, and this guy's explosion was on Facebook was pretty BS. And my question is, you know what? Now that I see this, can I trust any claim?
Nope.
Any thoughts?
A lot of women that have, claimed that they've been assaulted by, like especially during the Me Too movement, like women were claiming that they've been assaulted by the officer and things, and you can actually see they're trying to be perfectly reasonable and on the body cam and things, and I mean, anyone can claim anything, but
this is the reason why I want body cams.
Society.
Not to protect me, but to protect the cops.
Big fan of surveillance society, but in this instance, in these instances, it does prove its worth. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
Any thoughts about body cams in general? Because I want to get to something that's close to home here that happened right around the corner in good old-fashioned Camillus, New York.
Body cams are a great idea. I'm thinking of buying one.
Why?
This happened literally about 10 miles from me. Parents sue 30-year-old son for refusing to move out of their house. They had to go to a New York State, I forget, what is it, Supreme Court, in order to get this guy kicked out of their house. They offered him $1,100 to go get an apartment if he would just leave. And he said he wouldn't go. And then when they took him to court, he said, I need 6 months to figure out where I'm going. And the guy said, they've given you multiple notices. This last one gave you 2 weeks. If I go by the first one, it's been 3 months. No, go. And the guy's like, this guy is so shady too. He's like, do you have a job? And he goes, yeah, I'm kind of self-employed. I work for people doing things. And I'm like going, you're a drug dealer. You're a freaking drug dealer.
No. Eldritch, this is the thing. He was claiming that he had a viable business.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And but then he claimed that he was also not taking the money off his parents because he wanted to stay under the limit so that he could get state support for his defense. So he's actually claiming he's poor. He was using the poor.
He's poor and rich. This guy is
poor and rich simultaneously. Yeah.
This guy is narcissistic to a degree that I can't even fathom. He just lives in his own little universe.
You leave your child in a basement. This is what happens when you leave a child in a basement.
But I just thought, any thoughts on, should you allow your 30-year-old child to live with you until he feels like leaving?
No, because then you'll get what happened with my brother.
I made this prediction, I've said it before, but I think that what you're going to see now is the rise of euthanasia, like the promotion of euthanasia. Because these kids, they have no fucking idea how to support themselves.
Retroactive abortion, you mean?
Oh my God, stop.
No, actually, I can see the movement to allow people to kill themselves just because they're depressed. I really can.
saying that no, this will be involuntary. This will be the kids, the spoiled brats. Like
Oh,
this,
they want to euthanize their parents so they can have their homes.
Lazy fucks, yes, because they'll never earn the money themselves, and they just need the income. Yeah, oh yeah, I can see that coming in the next 5-10 years.
Yep, your children will kill you. Just remember, your children will kill you and take your home.
Actually, money on that.
Speaking
of part of the dialogue.
Speaking of children, shall we move on to Solo?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, no. It's meant to be hideous. I saw Rageaholics.
Actually, I won't go into the details what I know about it because you know spoiler stuff. But Solo's a Star Wars story.
Oh, please. Apparently, you can't spoil it because it sucks.
No, it has been described to me as dull, boring, predictable, and pedantic. And apparently, the person who told me all this is not alone because I believe it is heading towards one of the lowest outings on a Memorial Day weekend ever, possibly. I mean, it's doing pretty bad for a major movie. Like, yeah, it's making $114 million, but this is Memorial Day weekend. And this is Star Wars franchise. This should be...
It's a bigger problem than just this movie. It's Kathleen Kennedy, what happened with the Last Jedi, and no one's really willing to give this one a go.
Yeah, I believe.
I'm thinking, well, look at the photographs, right? I mean, the photographs of the empty cinemas. There's nobody sitting there.
They're staying away.
I mean, that's the most embarrassing.
What's the old saying? They're staying away in droves.
And then there's the biggest thing that everyone's overlooked, and that's just the simple thing of Billy D is not Donald Glover.
This looks like it might be another Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, please.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're traumatizing me. You didn't give me a trigger warning.
I mean, I do want to talk about some parts of the movie, but I don't want to ruin things if Gwendy actually wants to go see it. So
you ain't gonna ruin anything.
But no. But Gwendy, I would be very interested in you coming back with a review. I especially want to know about the robot L337, which I believe is some sort of twisting on the.
That's my favorite robot name.
Leet. I think it's just trying to be Leet. Yeah. I really want to hear about the robot. I really do. So let's leave that up to Wendy. I look forward to hearing your review of Solo.
Appeal to hackers. That's all it is.
Drew, we need to go see this movie now. Can we do that tomorrow? Please.
Jesus. Just smack her. Give her a good.
You only have to pay for one of us to go.
Yes. Wait. Can you pay for you to? No, I'll pay for me to go. Okay.
Yeah, I'll pay for me.
Independent, strong woman.
With my free pass.
At any rate, moving on to the last story, I think we can skip just briefly. A couple Americans were released from jail from Venezuela. Reading it over, it's actually kind of boring. But yeah,
couldn't afford to keep them.
Yeah, couldn't afford to keep them. And Trump said if anything happens to them, and then Venezuela said, "Oh, just take them."
They have to owe more money.
At any rate, SpaceX, Elon Musk proposes a new media company that rates journalism. He wants to make a company that does nothing but keeps track of everybody else's news articles, lets the public, verify it themselves, and then rate the journalists as to whether or not they're trustworthy or not.
Is he calling this one the Cartoon Company?
He was going to call it Pravda.
Pravda.
Which one?
The Elon Musk one.
Or it's either you're right.
One where he was all being like whatever.
I mean, this might be a joke. I mean, this might be the same of his supersonic underground railroad. But I would actually like to see this one. I would love to see this.
Or the boring company that makes flamethrowers.
No, okay, so he actually registered the name, like one of his underlings incorporated Pravda over a year ago, so this may actually be legit.
Holy crap, he's got the rights to Pravda. Oh my god.
Yeah, like, as of over a year ago at this point. It was in one of the comment threads on the original Twitter post.
Oh wow! I look forward to a company that rates journalists. I really do. The problem is, I think it's going to fall the same way as all the other fake media out there, and it's going to.
Oh no!
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, how's it any different than Snopes, right? It's Snopes. He's just basically saying he wants to be the next Snopes.
Yeah,
And look what they are.
I can't wait until 4chan gets a hold of it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
Same.
I want to see 4chan
Anyway,
make a rock, just an ordinary rock, as the world's greatest journalist. Just rock. Just a picture of a stone there on the side of a road.
No. The most annoying character from a kid's show or something like that.
But yeah, apparently Elon Musk is getting more woke. From what I read, though, a lot of mainstream medias are like attacking him over this. And, you know, as you're right, he's just trying to be the next Snopes. So, like, who cares? Like, why would... But I think people aren't realizing the bottom line here, which is mainstream media and journalists, nobody likes you. Nobody likes you anymore. Nobody trusts you. Nobody likes you.
Nobody trusts you.
Nobody. Nobody. You lie. You lie like rugs. Okay? It's all you do. Oh, okay. Maybe there's some subjective truth in there somewhere. Okay, you're deceptive. You're not liars. You're deceptive. Nobody likes deceptive people. Nobody.
You know, if you go to a railway station in Britain now, or you get, I mean, there are people throwing newspapers at you for free. I mean, they can't even sell this shit anymore.
Oh, yeah. I've been getting free newspapers in my mailbox, and I remember calling them up and going, I don't have a subscription to you. And they said, oh, it's a free.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, oh, okay, it's just for a week? Fine. It hasn't stopped. It's been a month. It won't go away. I hope they're not going to bill me.
Yeah, last time I was walking through Central Station in Sydney and someone threw some newspaper at me. It was covered in shit and it was a bum.
Well.
Play on words there. Did he have a decent T-shirt? I'd roll him for it. But you know, that's kind of why I wanted to bring this one up here. I mean, I think Elon Musk is late to the party here, but the fact of the matter is, you know, I can save his website. A lot of matter. Nobody trusts any reporters anymore. That's it. You could just have that on the front page and you're done. You save yourself a lot of money.
Anyway, with this SpaceX and all the other shit, it's all coming. It's all going to come crashing down. I mean, and literally in the case of SpaceX, because you know those rockets have a very finite amount of usage.
Oh,
you can only use them like 2 or 3 times. I mean, every time you launch them, the degradation of the, you know, of what they're built from is quite spectacular. So, I mean, the chance of it getting where you want it to go every time you launch it reduces exponentially. So, you know what I mean? Good luck with that.
They're only using the Falcon rockets 5 times before they ditch them.
I don't think we're going to be living on the moon or Mars anytime soon, unfortunately.
But no, we see. Well, the interesting part about it is what SpaceX is doing is they're researching and developing leaps every single launch. So when, say, the first Falcon 9, the first Block 1 was designed, it was supposed to have technology that was there at the drawing board, but by the time it actually got to the launch pad, it had got several different additions in technology. And then by the time the Block 2s came in,
is why it blew up.
Yeah. Well, they learned about that. The friction from the microfibers inside the fucking carbon line tanks can actually fucking set off an explosion internally.
Actually, can I interrupt for a second to tell my favorite exploding rocket story? I don't know if anybody remembers when the first time the space shuttle blew up when it's launching off the pad and went kaboom.
Challenger.
Yeah, they were going, we have no idea how the O-rings broke. And there was this one guy, he was on the team that developed the nuclear bomb. He
dropped the thing in ice.
He dropped the thing in his ice, and then he picked it out, and he just kind of wiggled it back and forth and snapped the O-ring right in front of everybody. And it's like, dudes, if a guy can break your seals on your rocket with a bucket of ice, I think you found your problem. But
yeah, Well, where Apollo and the space shuttle and all that went wrong was that
Like,
they they were doing large segments of stuff. They were taking an entire launch just to test one aspect of the lunar module or something like that. Whereas SpaceX is testing all of like a shit ton of stuff per launch, and now they're in like Block 3 or Block 4 of the Falcon 9, and they're now looking at the BFR, which doesn't stand for big fucking rocket. It actually stands for big
I
Falcon
thought it
rocket.
said for big fucking rocket, and now I'm disappointed.
It does.
It stands
does
for
really.
big Falcon rocket.
Of
No.
course it does.
I don't believe you.
But this is the one where they're looking
Well,
at
it's a heavy
the work.
lifter.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the
this-
heavy
they-
lifter isn't designed to come back again, right? It's not this vertical bullshit thing,
Yes,
which is
it's-
never going to work.
Yes, it is. Yeah. This is the one where like they reckon they're going to do like 1 hour round trips around the world and shit like that. 1 hour from Sydney to fucking London, which when you look at the logistics of it, ain't going to work. But they're going to do what Werner von Braun was going to do originally with his like before Saturn came along. And
Nothing
Apollo,
ever went bad with Nazis, did it?
Nah. No. Well, anyway, fucking yeah. He was going to have like a staged rocket system, but like the main rocket booster was basically the first stage of the Saturn V. Was just basically a thing to get it up into space, and they were going to assemble a craft up in space and the space station and all this kind of stuff, and then have that going to and from the moon. So, Apollo 11. If Werner von Braun had his way, would have been a rocket up to a space station, and then from the space station you have a little ship that goes to and from the moon, and then back to Earth from the space station, which is what Elon Musk wants to do. He's making the BFR to launch big chunks of stuff into space, and then they're going to assemble it there, and then send it off to the moon or Mars or something.
Yeah,
Well, I
but
hope
you
he
know,
pulls
you
it
don't
off.
even really need to do that.
Hey?
I hope he pulls it off.
No, Cabbage, what was that, sorry?
Well, I was going to say, but the thing is that the BFR, you need to get that heavy lifting into orbit if you want to start doing any, if you want to get any large, payload or whatever. But the thing is that these vertical takeoff landing things, they are degraded with every. I mean, it's not. I mean, just material wise.
Yeah.
Well, no, space flight is remarkably
they are
inefficient.
not reusable in any reliable way. I mean, you have no idea if you're doing it. The cost of microfracture analysis of these things is going to be so expensive that it's not even going to be worth reusing the fucking things in the first place. That it will be far cheaper if you just let them parachute back.
Anyway,
Well,
before we
have
get too much
reused
up
a
on
few.
this, we're kind of going around in circles here. Anybody else want to bring up any other topics? Because that was the last one. I want to see if there was anything anybody else wanted to bring up. We all good about everything?
Sorry, did we bore you with the science?
No, well, they have brought back and reused a few Falcon 9s, and the first Falcon rockets they were using, they've done that a few times already, and they're looking at like if they can get more than 5, then yeah, it would be worth it.
Time that you do it, you're increasing the likelihood of failure with each launch.
Well, this is the main reason with the Falcon and the Falcon 9 program. Yeah, that's the where they're testing all this shit now with the
Housings and stuff like that, the bell housings on the jet engine.
I just want some place to send everybody in California.
You do realise that space. You do realise that
Sweden.
Yeah, Cabbage. You do realise that SpaceX basically is having a launch almost once or twice a week nowadays.
Oh, didn't know that.
I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of volume.
yeah. So they're getting tons of test data.
But so
But
was the
you
guy
know,
who
the
was
day-
running his own space program, who built his own, submarine, and then strangled and chopped up a woman and claimed she hit her head.
Well, he was
Oh,
getting
yeah, that's
test.
great, though.
That was out of nowhere.
He was getting test data. You see.
You should see the video I made up on him. He's actually put himself in a rocket chair and spun himself around. It was pretty funny.
Holy shit,
Anyway,
it sounds like It sounds like.
are there any other big stories going on that I haven't covered because I feel like I've forgotten something. This week's been kind of busy.
The royal wedding.
Oh God!
Yeah,
the
royal wedding.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Uh,
That was a cluster.
is she actually black?
It was so funny watching the
Because
Queen.
somebody was trying to convince me
No,
she's black.
I don't. Please, she's got black parent apparently.
Has the Duke of Edinburgh elaborated a bit more on the subject of her blackness?
I don't care because she's marrying Harry, and Harry is not part of the royal family because he's
that's right.
the progeny of James
The
Hewitt.
Yeah, the
Carstairs. Yeah, well, no, the
Oh,
Carstairs. Yeah.
yeah.
So he's not even part of the royal family. So they're willing to sacrifice him on the altar of diversity.
Well, it doesn't matter.
That makes some sense
She's
now.
getting nowhere near the throne anyway.
No, exactly. That's the whole point. So, he's not even a spare.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know that.
She,
I can't understand.
no.
any of
She's
that
not
royalty
even.
stuff.
There'd have to be something horrifically bad to happen to one complete side of the royal family for Meghan to get anywhere near that fucking point.
One
Because it
good
goes-
plague, and she's on the throne.
No, well, this is how it works at the moment, right? You got the Queen, and you got Lizzie, who's on the seat, and then Charles, if Charles survives Liz. But yeah, Liz, then Charles, then William, and then George, and then whoever's after that. So even the babies have already got fucking dibs on it before she does.
I just got to ask one question. Prince Charles, who's the son of the Queen, is he ever going to be king?
When
Queen
the Queen dies.
Yeah, if
the Queen dies. I thought it was going straight to his son. Or her son?
Well,
Mr. William.
I thought they were cutting him out of the crown or something.
Oh, they were, but there is one way that he can sort of rule but not become king, and the Queen doesn't have to die if she becomes incapacitated and sort of brain dead for some reason.
He'll become King Regent.
He'll become King Regent.
Other than she's never dying, she's like, I don't know, God Emperor. They got a golden throne they plugged her into. She's going to be immortal. That woman will not die no matter what. I'm pretty sure of this.
I think
it's a diet of swans.
I think they'll turn him into one, like an animatronic. It'll turn into
she'll be taken over by Disney.
Jamboree, Disney World.
Anyway, we're kind of babbling now. Anything else major anybody wanted to bring up here? We're pushing 1 a.m., so maybe it's a good time to wrap this up. No final thoughts? Okay. Well, it's been real and it's been fun. It's been kind of fun. Bit of a depressing week, unfortunately. And I take Jacob's suggestion that we should have a Mars colony with Mars Care that's free to everybody. Of course, Mars Care will be you get tossed out of an airlock if you dare to mouth off. Kind of like the UK, except a lot less oxygen. And anybody want to say goodbye or say anything before we head out?
Mars bars.
Mars bars. Alrighty. Well, hope everybody has a good night.
Actually, I have something.
Oh, wait. Okay, what's up, Drew?
7-Eleven was a part-time job.
I agree. You keep bringing that up, man. You're such a... I don't know. We got to find something.
It's an indoors
racist?
job, goddammit.
Oh, goodness gracious me. They're going to be bombing
He wants to make it a meme.
Could be a meme.
Yeah, this is the meme.
All hail the Marstriarchy. I like that.
Here's a t-shirt idea. You have anime characters of me and Drew. And one's like one side of the t-shirt pointing his finger up going, 7-Eleven is a part-time job. And I'm on the other side, my finger pointing back at him. It's an indoors job, goddammit.
Age.
And Gwendy can be poking up from the bottom between the two of us. Minimum wage.
It would make no sense whatsoever. That perfect t-shirt for this channel. Make no sense.
Great t-shirt.
Minimum wage.
Anime caricatures of us.
Whatever happened to the Mecha T-Rex on fire?
Oh, you know what? I got to do something with that.
Oh, we still need that, don't we?
I put the picture up for a moment there. There's the T-Rex. It's all purpley and stuff, breathing fire. It's awesome. And wearing, I think, sneakers.
I'm getting wood.
Wow.
Anyway, it's been real. It's been fun. I hope everybody has real fun. I hope, everybody has a pleasant day heading out there. Goodbye, everybody.